So yeah, saw Alien Romulus this week, and not only are you going to be getting my review of the movie, but I also saw it in 40X. This was the first time that I had ever been to a 40X theater. Me and my girlfriend regretted not seeing Twisters in 40X. We missed the deadline with that, so we decided to take the opportunity to see the movie in this format, and it was something. I don't know if I'm going to be spending $30 a ticket every week for 40X, but like if there's like a cool disaster movie or like a movie where I know there's like a lot of flying spaceships or whatever, you know what I mean, I would probably do it. I think it just, I don't know, it's in regards to how invested I am in that franchise or whatever. I don't know if I'm gonna be seeing like a movie like Superman Legacy in 40X, because I want to be like very in tune with the story, and sometimes you're not really going to be able to do that with the chairs moving around. Not to say that that happened with this movie. I think it was actually a really good experience, but I liked it. For what it was specifically with this movie, I thought it was great. So I've been really looking forward to Alien Romulus. I'm a huge fan of the first two Alien films. However, I was very skeptical due to the fact of how this franchise has been treated over the past decade or so. I liked Alien Covenant. I liked when the alien stuff happened and the violence that was involved with that film, but I didn't necessarily like how it was basically just a sequel to Prometheus. I know a lot of people like that film and there's a lot to appreciate it, but I don't know, I've always seen kind of like anything related to Prometheus and Prometheus itself as just like, I don't know, this very pretentious way of telling a story, like where did we come from and stuff like that, which is a very interesting question, but I don't know, I just have never had the need or desire to ever watch Prometheus again. And like I said, I really liked some factors of Alien Covenant, but when it became a Prometheus sequel, I just kind of lost interest. And I don't know, I was really scared that this movie would try to be another replication of that, where instead of just being an enjoyable film, entertainment-wise, a scary movie, this would be another film where we try to rectify where the alien came from and to explain the origin of life, which is cool. I guess that's, yeah. However, the one thing that kept my interest and optimism up for this movie was Fede Alvarez directing. I've been a huge fan of Fede Alvarez since Evil Dead. I think he did a really good Evil Dead movie. A lot of people say that like that movie from 2013 was better than Evil Dead Rise. I choose to kind of just like divide those movies. Those are two separate things, obviously. But I feel like a lot of people really liked Don't Breathe. It seems like a lot of the times when I'm watching like at least 2 or 3 trailers for a horror movie each given year, it always says something like from the producers of Don't Breathe. He is really known for that movie. Like, I mean, good job on him for being that guy that made Don't Breathe, but he is so well regarded for Don't Breathe. It's clear that he's a fan of horror, and I wanted to see what he would do to breathe life back into this franchise. So Alien Romulus is about a group of miners on this planet who find out that they no longer have the required hours to leave this planet. They want to go somewhere else that has a better quality of life, but unfortunately it takes 9 years to get to this planet. They soon find out that there's this abandoned spaceship hovering over this planet that they're currently at, so they decide to go up to this abandoned spaceship in order to ransack it of its resources. Unfortunately, this spaceship was a research center where they were studying the xenomorph, and there's a lot of face huggers on this ship. And it soon becomes a situation where they just need to get off this spaceship immediately. I think the one thing I liked about this movie is how it focuses on a younger cast. Fede Alvarez is really good at implementing stories and stakes with like 20-something-year-olds. It's clear that he likes showcasing that type of demographic and the problems that maybe we as like millennials or even Gen Z go through on a regular. In 2013's Evil Dead, we saw a character who was going through drug addiction and substance abuse. In Don't Breathe, we saw a group of characters who were dealing with poverty in Detroit, and them just recognizing that life dealt them a bad hand, and they decided to go down the path of being petty thieves. This movie decides to tackle the topic of time, where us as 20-something-year-olds, we find ourselves sometimes like constantly working and trying to save up, and there's always something that comes in between, whether it be inflation or something else that is out of our control and we didn't account for. And we're doing the best that we can, but we unfortunately can't get to where we want to be, like buying a house or moving to a location that we've favored. I think the strongest part of the movie is the brother and sister duo, played by, I think it's Kaylee Spaney, that's how you say her name, and David Johnson. They play Rain and Andy. Andy is actually a synthetic robot that Rain has around as a almost little brother. Their parents are no longer around, and they're doing the best that they can to survive on this planet through their mining jobs. And Andy's only prerogative is making sure that Rain is happy and well. He's such a youthful character throughout this film, and it's clear that he is the heart of this entire movie. It also plays within the plot because they need Andy specifically because he is a synthetic and he speaks mother, and he's able to open doors when they get on this ship. But it also creates like friction within the group because there's one character like Ripley in Aliens who is very prejudiced and disregarding of synthetic robots, which is understandable for the most part when you hear the character's background of them losing a mother due to an accident on this planet. And even the characters that you don't necessarily dislike, you just kind of understand their tone when it comes to synthetics. They're just machines. They look at them as just not people with feelings. They're not people. You understand the mentality of a lot of these characters when the idea of synthetics are brought up. And obviously, the movie wouldn't be anything without aliens, because yeah, like the trailer showcases, there's a lot more screen time for the face huggers, and I think they do a lot of like really nerve-wracking scenes with these things. They're already scary regardless, but they decide to do some scenes like when they're trying to move through a hallway, they turn the temperature up to make sure that the temperature of the room matches their body temperature because these things sense heat. So that's a really cool scene where they're just trying to sneak by these things. There's a lot of creative ways that like keep you on the edge of your seat in this film. And I just loved how this film recognizes that Alien, the first one at least, was a horror film, and there's a lot of horrific scenes and a lot of horrific images that happen in this film, like bodies being dragged through the vents and characters are just looking behind them in horror. Like, there's some really cool visuals in this film. And of course, the xenomorph is in this film, and it looks great. I was actually watching this and thinking that it looked very identical to that of the first Alien film, where you just kind of see its head tilt up and everything, and it has that like blue tint almost. They actually decided to use a lot of animatronics for the xenomorph in this film, and I think it really like paid off, because there wasn't necessarily a time where I was like, okay, that looks fake, or that's definitely CGI. They definitely utilized the fact that they didn't show the xenomorph in full frame. It was either really up close, or it was just far away enough where it's like crawling on a wall or something, and it just looks really pleasing. Like, the fact that they used practical effects within this film is a godsend. I think they made a good call with that in particular. A lot of people have been kind of talking about this as well. There seems to be the topic of fan service. This is technically a Disney distributed property, I would assume, because it is a Fox film. There were times where I was like, is this like the Force Awakens of Alien? Because it does kind of feel like that, where you have, I don't want to go into specifics because it is a spoiler, but there's a cameo in the film that I was like, oh, that's interesting that they brought that character back. It's not necessarily de-aging. It's a practical effect that's implemented in the film, which I thought was pretty creative given the character's background and stuff like that. So it's not necessarily, I don't think, disrespectful or distasteful. Maybe a little bit, but only half. But like, given that the character is what it is, it kind of makes sense. Like, oh, well, that's why it kind of looks like that. I think my main negative revolves around this character, though. The fact that this character is essentially there to give kind of exposition to what happened on this ship and why there are face huggers and xenomorphs running around. But the fact that it's this specific character giving this exposition, I think makes up for it, because they just sound great. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I haven't heard you in a while. So yeah, I think it works out for the most part. But like I said, there is a lot of times where after the characters are running, they'll go into a room and there's like a time where exposition is given, but it's good for the most part. It doesn't take up the entirety of the movie, but it's definitely there and you'll notice it. In terms of the comments of this movie having fan service and relying heavily on fan service, I don't necessarily view it as that. I view it as a filmmaker looking back on the past two good Alien films and recognizing these are what made these films work. This is what I like about these films, and I'm gonna transition these factors into my film. These are things that I noticed that we all love about Alien. The idea that, like, you know, these kids are trying to get into hypersleep chambers. That's like an interesting topic. Like the fact that you're trying to get to this said location, but you don't want to age, like that's a totally reasonable and relatable thing where you don't want to be wasting time. We also have the infamous chest bursting scene within this film, and it's not necessarily fan service, I would say. It's kind of a necessity to have a fucking alien in a movie in the first place. You need that scene in order for a xenomorph to be present in your film, which, by the way, this is where I want to get into 4DX. It was so cool when you see that chest burst scene and you see it visually, this thing, like you hear the heartbeat and the thumping. Your chair behind you thumps from behind you. I thought that was such a cool experience. I thought that was awesome. And when the characters finally get guns and they're firing these guns on the xenomorphs, it's really cool because like the chairs are thumping behind you as the automatic rifle fires. And it's so close to that Alien arcade game, like the same sound effect obviously, and your chair rocking back and forth as like this pulse rifle is like firing. It was just such a cool feeling, and I recognized it immediately. Like this feels a lot like that arcade game. One personal negative that I would say, and it's rectified actually at the end of the movie. So I did not think this was as gory as I wanted it to be. I was thinking that this was going to be a pretty gory movie considering that Fede Alvarez was involved and he did Evil Dead 2013, because that was, yeah, there was literal blood raining in that movie. There is gore, but it's definitely so close up on these characters that it's hard to really kind of visualize exactly what's going on. It's very close to that of Brett in the first Alien movie, where like the alien's tongue like hits his hat. It's stuff like that. But then, without going into spoilers, the movie totally redeems itself at the end. There is, let's just say that like this is the most out of left field thing that the ending is, where it's like there is something introduced, and the way that it's introduced is there's just a lot of blood that's involved. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, this is where they put their blood, was this final scene in the movie. And I've got to say, there is a trend within the ending of these Alien movies that I noticed even after Alien Covenant, where the characters find that they're safe on this ship, and then they find out there's something else on the ship. It's just a prominent thing that happens throughout these Alien movies, where they find something on the ship when they think they're safe. And I think this is the most effective that we've had in a while, where they find this thing and it's like, oh, that's new. But overall, guys, I love this film. I definitely think that it has a lot of fan service, because it is, but it is clearly because there is a director behind the camera who loved the first two Alien films, and he's trying to showcase that we can still maintain this franchise and breathe new life into it, because this is such an awesome creature, such an awesome monster the xenomorph is, and I would love to see more. It's really interesting because a lot of the times when Disney buys out a studio, we're kind of under this assumption like they're going to ruin it, they're going to water it down. Whereas a lot of the stuff that they've been doing with Fox as of late has been nothing but love. Like Dan Trachtenberg's Prey, which was a prequel to Predator. I thought that movie was really, really good. Why it was just released to Hulu, I have no idea. And what Disney has been doing with the X-Men now in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I can't wait to see how that transitions in the future. But I don't know. I just like it. This is clear that like maybe Disney saw like what Fox was doing with these IPs, and they were like, oh, I wish I could like do a little bit more with that. And now that they finally have their hands on it, or at least they're like consulting with Fox as to what they can do, I don't know. It just feels like I have no problems with these movies. Like I'm like, yeah, this is how it should be. Let me know what you guys think of Alien Romulus in the comments down below. I love this film. I can't wait to see if they do anything in the near future. Maybe, just maybe, we'll get another Alien versus Predator movie, and it might be good. If there's anything I'd like from an Alien versus Predator movie, is to actually see the fucking alien and Predator in the film and not be it literally so fucking dark. So yeah, that's my review of Alien Romulus. Also, guys, just want to let you know, this is the last video in this room on this set. I am moving next week. It's been something that I have been really looking forward to. I think it's going to be better for me. There's a lot of things I don't want to get into right now because I'm still in this apartment. Maybe I'll talk about it in the next video or so. But yeah, I'm moving, and I think it's going to be better for me and making videos, because I just haven't necessarily had time. And now that I'm moving into this new apartment, I think things are going to be just much better. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to getting more content out there. If you haven't yet, check out my video to the first Alien film that came out in 1979. I really want to make more videos like that where I'm talking about not only films that have come out like in the recent weeks, but like films that are from like the 80s to early 2000s, just like nostalgic films of mine where I just want to like revisit those and make videos on them. I just haven't really been able to do that right now with just juggling work and my personal life. But I think with me moving into this new apartment, I think there's going to be more of a chance of me getting more videos out there. But yeah, like I said, this is the last video on this current set. Let me know what you want to see on this new set. Let me know if there's a certain color of light that you want to see. Like right now I'm using like red. I'm debating whether or not I want to change the color. Let me know if there's anything in particular that you want to see in the background. There's definitely going to be more stuff. There's definitely going to be more like He-Man stuff and everything that I'm very excited about. But yeah, I just wanted to update you guys. If I decide to make a video before the set is ready, I might just do that at my office after work. But yeah, just wanted to update you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you haven't yet, please subscribe. I'm looking forward to making more videos soon. I am Corbin Stuckey, and thank you for watching.